Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Mooji Baba ki Jai. This direct way of truth is simplest but also most difficult. Simplest because if you're open, it just is. So simplest and most difficult. But the difficult part is to come to openness. Once you're open, is the simplest. And what gets in the way of coming to openness? What gets in the way of coming to openness is everything that you think you're right about. Everything that you think you know. And we grasp on to this sort of knowledge, believing that it is worthwhile. Nobody holds on to a belief unless they think it is worthwhile. But we hold on to conceptual knowledge, thinking that we are getting something out of it, or we've invested in this sort of understanding, and then we want to build on top of that. Hardly anybody in this world wants to be empty of everything that they know. So the usual way it goes is that we keep holding on to our righteousness, and trying to fit and force fit life and the world and everything in that conceptual framework. Try to look at everything through that lens, thinking that they have figured it out, till life squeezes it out of you. And no matter how broad a frame you create, God, life, truth cannot fit into that. So to let go of what we think is the difficult part, seemingly difficult part. Even now, most of us may want this truth to be an object of our understanding, but it really can never be. And it will give you a headache. What will happen to the glass if you try to fit the ocean in it? It cannot handle it. And if you try more and more and more, it can seem to start getting pushed. So this is the difficult part. If you try to contain it somewhere in mental understanding, and that's what most in spirituality are doing, and that's what I was doing for so many years before I met Guruji. Of course there were direct insights and experiences as well, but I was playing the game all wrong. And that's what most of us do. We think that one day we will understand the truth. But that is just not possible. Now, if you let go of the attempt to understand, or let's say that you're not concerned, independent of this mental understanding, the mind's idea is that you are lost. But are you lost? This is what has to be checked. Are you lost? Actually, you can never be lost. You're only lost in your head. Bondage is in your head, and freedom is in your head. Neither of them actually exist. In the non-existence of bondage and freedom, this duality is what we call freedom. Is it? When you're no longer in your head, then what does it mean? You're no longer relying on your mind to give you a version of reality that you depend on. It sounds like complicated words, they're actually very simple. You're no longer relying on your mind to give you a version of reality that you depend on. Then are you lost? Are you found? Neither of these actually exist for you. And this is the most natural way. But the problem is, if you want to take some thing that we are right about along with us, then it just cannot work. Because contained in this conceptual version of reality are contained all the versions of reality. One idea contains every idea. Every idea is dependent on every other idea, and in a way then contains every idea. And we can explore this, because even a simple idea like a man is walking down the street, and you start looking at what a man is, what walking is, what street is, you get so many other ideas. Then you start looking at those ideas, so many other ideas. What is a man? Each of you may have different ideas about that. So if you start looking in this way, you will see that everything in your entire lexicon, in your entire dictionary, is contained in one idea. So you cannot carry your favorite idea with you, whatever it may be. Why do you want it anyway? Because you think it represents the truth? It doesn't. Don't fall in love with ideas. Are you lost? We can try and get lost. You see, let's try and get lost and see at which level we are lost. And you'll discover that it's only the mind. But your existence is way beyond that. So, like I was saying the other day, you cannot be shaken unless you give yourself a shape. And your shape is only in the mind. What is your shape without going to the mind? What shape are you now? Without letting the mind or without buying into the mind's interpretation. What is your shape? Shape or no shape? Huh? No shape. So how will you be shaken? How can you be lost? How can you be found? Till you give yourself a shape. So the power of belief is the power of consciousness to take on a presumed shape. That's called identification. Don't make any shape. What problem you have to solve now? Before giving yourself a shape. Not even the shape of space, huh? Because some of you may be visualizing some spaciousness or something. And saying, I am that. Not even that. More open than the highest openness that you can imagine. Because that is also in your head. Somebody saying it's impossible? Actually, every shape is effort. Every shape is effort. Your mind may be saying to you that that is too much effort to remain shapeless. It may seem that way, temporarily, provisionally. What's your report? Simple? No? Because
now I don't know, it's all confused.
all confused. At what level of your existence is the confusion? Does it contain the whole of you? If confusion contains you, or you contain the confusion?
I continue.
Okay. How much of your space is the confusion taking? Small? You yourself say small. You see? So, just like the germs and the antibodies in the body, they must be constantly fighting, no? So let them fight. What do you have to do with it? What is confusion? Contradictory concepts. You see? Fighting for supremacy. Isn't it?
I want a result from that.
You want a result from that. No result will be a true representative of reality. Whatever results come from that fight, it will not represent reality accurately. What are the two concepts, for example?
For example, if you see the words you are saying, like openness,
Yeah.
emptiness,
Yeah,
or simple
Yeah.
truth,
yeah,
doesn't seems to be understanding.
yes. Yeah. So, like openness, truth, simple. I can't understand what they are. You see? So, at the level of your intellect, you are not understanding them. You see? That's good. Because if you're just using the words in satsang to increase your mental understanding, then I'm not doing my job properly. Somewhere, provisionally, let's call it a deeper layer in your existence, none of this is confusing. In the core of your being, what is being spoken is obvious because that's where it is coming from. If the fight happened in your intellect, what is the greatest result you could get out of it? Some true concept will come saying this is the truth. It cannot be that way. Truth cannot be so small, you see.
It's the result, even I know, will not be great.
Yeah.
This is also
Yeah.
confusion.
Okay. Now, if I tell you that your notion of confusion equals bad is a bad conclusion. If I tell you that the notion that confusion equals a bad thing, which is the popular notion in the world, you see, it's just a bad conclusion in itself. Then I'm actually saving you a lot of time. Saving you a lot of time because most of us, like, this is exactly the game I was talking about. Most in Jnana Yoga feel like the game is to come to some conceptual clarity. You see? The clarity that we come to is beyond concept. That's the strange thing. No? That's why there can be so many tantrums in satsang. Because the master is trying to bring you beyond your mind. And what the disciple is usually asking for is mental clarity, which means that I must have the truth in my mind. You see? Which means that this notion must perfectly capture it. or a set of notions must perfectly capture the truth. Until you drop this trying to contain the truth in your intellect, the journey can continue. The moment you are not involved in that idea, truth always is, but the truth is apparent. So let the intellect fight amongst itself. You see? Now, you can never be actually confused. Because if you could lose the truth in this way, then the truth could never be found actually. It's only the mind's presentation. It's only the mind's sales pitch. See, this is your problem. This is evidence number 1, exhibit A. Evidence number 2, exhibit B. You see? Therefore, you must be lost or you must be confused. You see? And when you buy into the mind's framing, then you start solving non-existent problems. Freedom is an attempt to solve a non-existent problem. Because there never was any bondage. Bondage is only in the mind's presentation. What shape do you have to give yourself to consider yourself to be bound? What shape do you have to give yourself to consider yourself to be bound?
The shape of an individual.
The shape of an individual. That is called the ego. The idea that I am an individual is the ego. Or let's say the belief in the idea that I am the individual is the ego. So stop. What is forcing you? What is forcing you? A habit. Habit. The habit is like a momentum. You see? There is a certain inertia of operating in that way. You see? And satsang is de-addiction from that habit. That's all. What is your shape now? Even to check on this, where will you go? What is there to solve, resolve, find? You still have?
a shape.
What's your shape?
As an individual, I cannot.
Do you have shape as an individual? What's the shape? What's the individual shape? An individual means separate from others, isn't it? Me. There's a me separate from the rest of this appearance. What is the boundary of this me?
It's not a perfect shape. It's
Yeah.
some kind of thought. Like one central character or something.
It's a thought. So the individual is a thought? You are a thought? You say that I still have a shape. And then you say, when I look for the shape, I don't really find a definite shape. It's more like a thought. You see? Now, two questions were asked. Is it that the individual is a thought? And you could look and you may actually say yes. You see, it is just a thought. You see? But when I ask you, are you a thought? You see? Because you cannot be a thought because you are present in the space between two thoughts as well. Thought come, there is space, next thought come. But you are there to witness no mind and mind. So what is your shape? The one that witnesses mind and no mind. What is that shape?
It's not shape.
Has no shape. What does it have to do with you? It's you. Okay? So you're right that the thought is proposing a shape. It's proposing a shape, isn't it? But what forces you to buy the proposal except habit?
Fear. There is some fear.
Fear. Fear, yes. Fear. Does the fear carry a message?
Yes, there is some anxiety about.
Huh? There is some anxiety about?
If I dismount from that one,
Yes.
what will happen?
Yes. Yes. So now you are in a protected environment, satsang. You see? Guruji is here, so nothing will happen to you. Try to dismount. Let's see what can happen. Dismount from your shape. Just let it go. Let's see if your head explodes. Yeah. Can't dismount, or nothing is happening. Yeah. So the fear is unfounded, you see.
I mean, nothing is happening. I cannot dismount.
Huh?
I can't dismount.
So let me help you. You dismounted. See? You are empty of shape right now.
It's true.
Yeah. What's your trouble? Now if you start thinking about it.
is some pull, like it cannot be in that way. It's so simple, and it cannot be that way.
It can't be that simple. This is what the mind will tell us. That's what I'm saying. It's the most simple and it's the most difficult. You see? So, most simple because it's just like this. Most difficult because we have an idea of what it should be like. And we want to be right about that. You see? At least we have this idea that it must be difficult. That's why it's rare. You see? And very few can get over this simple idea. It's nonsense. You see, because the truth always is. That is the whole premise of spirituality. You see, but most in spirituality just can't get over this idea that it is so simple. Or it cannot be so simple. You see, these 2 or 3 basic ideas, that it can't be like this, or how does that help me? These 3-4 ideas, they keep us bound. They keep proposing this shape and we keep buying into that idea.
And it still have a place to believe that you appeared in this life. There is so many things, so many individuals, and all this.
Where are they? Where are the individuals? What is the dividing line between your consciousness and another consciousness? Your beingness and the beingness of another. What is the line? Just in our head, just in our concept, just in our mental version of what is. Where are you right now? Sitting inside the body somewhere? Then other individuals are where?
Inside.
Huh?
Inside.
Inside the same being? See? That means no other individual. Then one being. Nothing needs to happen. Not even any sort of transmission or nothing. Yes. Simple.
But this announcement of the being is happening here, and
Where?
it's somehow associated with this body.
Ah. Yeah. Where in the body? If I start looking inside the body, will I find the being somewhere? Where? Inside the liver, kidney, stomach, heart, inside beating pump called the heart, this pump. It's not that hard, no? Where is the being in the body? You have a dream, you have a body in that dream also. It seems to experience pain and pleasure, everything. You see? So you're being contained in that body or this one? When you have a dream, do you contain the whole dream or just one body? Whole dream is yours. Where is it?
Stream.
Within your being, within your the same consciousness. So how did that consciousness, which can contain the entire universe that we call a dream, you see, quite unlimited in its own play, how did that consciousness become so small that it became contained in one body? Is it true or just a concept? It's just a concept that we have. The individualization of consciousness is just emotion. To go to the mind expecting clarity is like going into a coal mine expecting not to get dirty. Can't do it. If you dig in a coal mine, you'll only get coal, not get gold. But you're swimming in gold already. It's just a stubborn idea that I must get it from the coal mine. Getting the metaphor. See, as it is, you are free. But you are insisting that my truth must be a product of my mind. That is making you confused and full of struggle. You want to get dirty, don't go into the coal mine. You say, I can't avoid going into the coal mine. It just comes. At least don't pick up the coal and rub it on yourself. I don't want to get dirty. Yeah. By the way, charcoal is supposed to be like a new hot thing. Everything, people are drinking charcoal and
Cleansing.
face mask and just on a side note. So if you met somebody like this, who's saying, I don't want to get dirty, but constantly just putting coal on themselves, you see, what will you tell him or her? Stop it. Stop it. But I can't stop. But you can. Nobody can force you. If you can't, then nobody can, because you are the one consciousness. I'm not referring to you as an individual. I am reminding myself as consciousness for some strange reason. Don't ask me why. That it is in my power to not take myself to be any shape.
Find that any attempt to understand just puts back in that
Yeah.
headache.
It's like plugging the leaky roof. Even if it seemed like you plugged something, it starts leaking from somewhere else. You see? Because the truth is too broad to be contained in it, no? In the intellect.
So then you see that the only thing that you can know without understanding would be
Would be, without understanding, would be.
just
Ah,
I mean I want to say I, but
ah.
I
You understood that?
no, I didn't understand. That's now what's going back in the mind to say, did I understand it? Did I see it? Did I know it?
So the only thing you know without understanding would be. See, it's inexpressible. Inexpressible. So, at best, we can try to make some rough translation of it. You see, but it can never be expressed in words. Otherwise, it would be in understanding. No, how would it be beyond understanding? Okay, let's take a question. One says, beloved Ananta, so Ribu has got completely true when he says that, therefore attaining purity of mind by constantly thinking that everything that is known is the Supreme Being, and the Supreme Being is oneself, and therefore abiding in the state of complete identity with the Absolute Reality, liberation can be attained here and now. I have spoken the truth. I have spoken the truth. Let me take this again. Therefore, attaining purity of mind by constantly thinking that everything that is known is the Supreme Being, and the Supreme Being is oneself, and thereafter abiding in a state of complete identity with the Absolute Reality, liberation can be attained here and now. You see? Now, if you really look at this statement, you see, it is here and now. Here and now. Is there a space to do the above, which is therefore attaining purity of mind by constantly thinking that everything that is known is the Supreme Being and Supreme Being is oneself and therefore abiding in the state of complete identity with the absolute reality? Is it? Not possible. Like here and now. You see? So at best, again, that's exactly what I'm saying, that the sages have given us pointers and ways of interpreting attempts, in fact lame attempts to interpret reality in some words so that consciousness can come back to its own source or discover or play this game of recognizing its own source. You see? And that is why most spiritual pointing is constantly contradicting. You see? How can it be here and now if you have to first do all of that stuff? So already it is saying constantly think. Then if you have to constantly think, where is the here and now left? You see? So I'm not saying that the sage is wrong or is not speaking the truth. You see? But everything that every master says is just a pointer. You see? Just a pointer. So this pointer is saying don't take anything to be separate from you. See? Don't ever take anything to be separate from you. One being, one supreme reality, one absolute. But the good news is that the end of it, which is liberation, can be attained here and now. Here and now means no need for any duration. No time has to pass. Just here. You are free. It is independent even of your acceptance or non-acceptance. Because many believe when I say like this, you are free, like, when will I actually believe this? You see? And if you have to believe it, then you are getting yourself in trouble again. You will just become a spiritual, play the role of a spiritual ego. It's not a question of belief, it's a question of insight. What do you know now? Now. Just now. Everything that you need to know is already known. Just now. There is nothing you can add to this. Empty of conceptual knowledge. The truth is completely apparent. I was watching a TV show the other day, and in that a beautiful scene was there actually, where the actor, he was saying that he saw a bird in the desert, and in the desert in the morning there was a frost, you see, and the frost was melting, and the bird just drank the water from the frost, you see? Whereas a man would have said, how? Why? See? How can there be frost in the desert? You see? So this is the human condition. The bird, in its simplicity, just drank the water. Asking why? Why is there frost in the desert? It's a beautiful story actually. And you hear the lives of the sages, and you see the lives of the sages, they are mostly like this. Now Mahadev yesterday was sharing about Yogi Ji that mostly you would get in the car with him and you would ask him, so she would ask him, where are we going, Bhagwan? He would say, I don't know. And the driver would start driving, then he would say, okay, Father wants us to go left. father wants us to go. Really, like, very much like this bird. Not deciding, not asking why, how, when. Not being dependent on these things. You see? You can still play out that way. You can still play out that way in its own naturalness. You see? Saying, so what should we have for lunch tomorrow? You see? But it doesn't have the psychological gravity to cause you suffering if you hear bitter chord or something like that. It's just what it is. So if a patch of grass suddenly appeared in the center of the hall, if you were a hungry cow, you would just eat it. But the human condition is we will ask why, what does it mean? You see? So in Satsang we come to that simplicity. I'm saying to you, freedom is right now. Finished. Now, if you leave yourself unharassed with all the, but what does it mean? Is it true? I am free. Is it finally done? It can't be that simple. This is the human condition. That's why many times I have to ask, so what do you really want? What does freedom mean for you? And then our ideas of, if we are at least speaking with honesty, then our ideas of some specialness or something changing, something. And what are we after? That which is, which always is. But something should change as a result of that discovery. Is it? Nobody says, I want to live like a cow. A bird at least sounds a little more better, no? Free as a bird. You say, I want freedom, I say, you are free. That could be the end of the conversation. You see, but the bird says, but, is it true? I say, of course it is true. But I don't feel free. It has nothing to do with your feeling. Whatever you may be feeling is contained in your freedom. You are free to experience whatever you are feeling. And then you may say, come to the real problem. You see, you may say that, but I thought that freedom was the absence of a certain feeling and the presence of another. And then I could say that, but that doesn't sound like freedom. If it has to be a certain way, then how is that freedom? then it is by definition, you see, only that way. You see, only bliss is allowed. How is that freedom? Huh? I have to start shouting a bit. If you had to carry one idea with you into heaven, which idea would you take? God said you can take one idea. Which idea would you take? Huh? You take me?
Usually, if I want to go to heaven.
That I want to go to heaven is also an idea. But in a way that he's right, that in any idea that you could take is contained the story of me. Sometimes I say, carrying this monkey me in our backpack as we are crossing into the gates of heaven. What is that story about? The story is about right now. Do you just want a spiritual version of yourself, or you want to be free? You want just an enlightened version of yourself, or you want to be free?
So when you ask this question, so when I say, okay, I came for freedom, then left the concept. So first I had a concept of what it would mean. But you twisted the question to say that who wanted the freedom?
Yeah.
And you said, okay, whatever that, but then who was the one who wanted this freedom, right? So I have to look to who I am, who wants this freedom.
Yes.
So that's where the problem starts coming. In a sense.
Yeah, what is the problem? And she says, I changed the question and I started looking for who is the one that wants freedom. And then some problem has come, which is? Did you find such a me that wants freedom?
No, not in the way.
In which way? Which way did you find?
Not in the way I thought of myself as this voice. So there seems to be a recognition. It's a voice. It's not. It's not. Then I don't know. Something says I have to deny my existence. And I struggle with that idea of denying my own existence.
Just forget it.
Okay.
Don't assert or deny anything.
Okay.
What is true doesn't have to be asserted and can never be denied. If something needs an assertion to exist, it's not real. And if something can be denied out of existence, it's not real. The mind is constantly asserting our separation. which never happened.
Father, you asked this question like you want an enlightened version of you,
Yeah.
or you actually want to be educated.
Yeah.
Actually, it is before, and the concept was somebody who is getting enlightened.
Yes.
And then it's recognized that it is or it's recognized as it's a false idea.
Yes.
Then it's actually there is a quest for freedom. But
So, without the idea of an enlightened one, what is left of the quest for freedom?
that's
If you just want what is, what quest can you go on? Somebody is walking around, desperately seeking. What do you want? Just what is. Is it possible?
still this idea is there, like some seeking is there.
It's just the habit in a way. Just the habit, momentum.
And it's differentiate between the normal and the spiritual. Everything is associated with that,
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah. So, some idea of some. What does the idea look like?
It is spiritual.
Huh?
There's freedom, truth,
Yeah.
openness. It's making in a separate way of life. And if you say be open,
Yeah.
it's immediately make it as a openness is some kind of state or something.
It immediately makes it closed.
Yes, right.
You see, to be able to define it is to close it. Yeah, that's why the other day also I was saying that being open is not being open. See? If you are being open now, you are not being open. To be more open than being open. It's beyond what we can understand. But it is already what we are. When we are being open or trying to be open, we're still making a shape about ourselves. Even if that shape is imagined to be pure spaciousness or something, just forget about it. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Satguru Shri Mooji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Kevalam.
Shri